Instructor said, "No weapon can stop it." The human cadet loaded one anyway. The academy floated silently above the blue planet, a small dot in the vastness of space. It looked peaceful, but inside, tension hung in the air like a heavy fog. Cadets from many species moved through the hallways, carrying their data pads and training tools. Most of them whispered to one another, excited to be part of something so important. Humans were rare here, and they often drew curious glances. Alex Carter walked steadily, his boots making soft sounds on the metallic floor. He had been at the academy for 6 months. In that time, he had seen alien cadets who could manipulate energy fields, shift shapes, or interface with ships through thought alone. Humans had none of that. Yet Alex had something they did not, a stubborn mind that refused to accept limits. That morning, the academy's largest lecture hall was packed. The cadets knew something unusual was coming. Instructor Hale, a tall alien with long silver fingers, stood at the front. His eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the lights of the room. He did not speak at first. He let silence settle over the hall. Then he began, his voice low but firm. "Today you will learn about the one entity no weapon can stop. This is not theory. This is fact. It has destroyed fleets. It has moved through star systems, leaving nothing in its path. Your survival depends on understanding that some things are beyond your power." Alex listened. He did not write notes. His eyes followed the instructor as he moved across the stage. Other cadets whispered to one another, some looking nervous, others fascinated. Most species were built for obedience, for following instructions, for accepting limits. Humans were different. Alex's mind immediately began turning, thinking of every possible way to challenge the statement. He knew instinctively that limits existed only until someone tried to break them. After the lecture, cadets gathered in small groups. The aliens spoke in rapid patterns, comparing their theories. Alex joined two other human cadets, Lisa Brown and Ethan Cole. Lisa's hair was dark and tied back tightly. She had a calm presence but a sharp mind. Ethan was smaller but quick, always observing before acting. "Did you hear that?" Lisa asked quietly. "He said no weapon can stop it. That sounds hopeless." "He wants us to be hopeless," Alex said, shaking his head. "That is exactly why we need to try. If everyone believes something cannot be done, we can do it first." Ethan frowned. "But he is serious. Fleets have been destroyed. People have died. What makes you think we can do anything?" Alex smiled faintly. "Humans survive because we try anyway. We do not wait for the world to tell us no." The three of them moved through the halls, discussing ideas quietly. Most cadets were already heading to combat drills. Alex noticed the old weapons bay sign on a nearby door. The sign was faded, almost unreadable. "We need to go there," he said. "If we can find something useful, anything, we should try it. It is better than waiting to die." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "That bay has been decommissioned. It is considered useless. Instructor Hale said so himself." "Maybe he is wrong," Alex said simply. "Or maybe he is just saying it to scare people." They entered the bay. It smelled of oil and metal, a heavy scent that reminded Alex of old stories he had heard from humans who fought wars on their home planet. The room was dusty, filled with crates of weapons that had long since been abandoned. Plasma rifles, ion cannons, old kinetic launchers, and devices with blinking lights sat in rows. Most of them had warning signs: dangerous, unstable, do not use. Ethan moved carefully, examining the crates. Most of these would not work. The tech is outdated and some are dangerous to operate. "I don't care," Alex said. "We will make something work. Humans always find a way." He began checking each weapon, looking at power sources, range, and weight. Lisa followed, taking notes, while Ethan inspected the structure of a kinetic launcher. It was old, small, and clunky, but it looked like it could survive a launch. Alex smiled. "This is it. It may be old, but it has a chance." They spent hours working. Alex cleaned the weapon, adjusted its firing mechanism, and replaced worn parts with components scavenged from other devices. Lisa recalibrated sensors, making sure that any shot could be aimed precisely. Ethan created a small energy shield to protect the launcher during use. It was slow work and time was short. They had drills and lessons scheduled, but Alex ignored them. "Our chance comes first," he said. "Everything else can wait." Word spread among a few curious cadets. Some watched from the doorway, laughing quietly. Alien cadets were confused. Why would humans use something considered obsolete? Why would they risk injury for a small chance? But Alex and his team did not care. Humans were used to ridicule. They were used to danger. What mattered was trying. Finally, late in the evening, the weapon was ready. It looked simple compared to alien weapons. No glowing cores, no hovering parts, no strange alien metals. It was a small, kinetic launcher, reinforced with new alloys. Alex tested the firing mechanism. It clicked, it moved, it could shoot. Lisa checked the trajectory system. "We can aim for small points," she said. "If it hits the right spot, maybe it can work." Ethan nodded. "It is a long shot, probably the only thing worse than doing nothing." Alex laughed softly. "Sometimes the only way to survive is to do what everyone says is impossible. Sometimes the only way to win is to try." That night, Alex lay in his quarters. The city of lights from the planet below shimmered through the windows. He thought about the machines, the fleets destroyed, the fear that had spread across the academy. Most cadets would sleep and wait for their turn to die. He would not. He imagined firing the weapon, hitting a point the machines could not adapt to, seeing the impossible happen. His heart raced at the thought. The universe did not need to believe. Humans only needed to try. Morning came quickly. Alarms echoed across the academy. The machine entity had been detected in the nearby system. Fleets scrambled, ships moving at impossible speeds. The aliens were panicked, giving orders in voices full of stress. Cadets were rushed to battle stations, and instructors tried to maintain order. Alex, Lisa, and Ethan carried the launcher onto a small shuttle. Other cadets stared. Some whispered warnings, some laughed. Instructor Hale came near, his silver fingers twitching. "Humans," he said, voice full of caution, "this will not work. Nothing works. Stand down." Alex looked at him calmly. "We are not standing down. We are trying." Hale's eyes narrowed. He did not understand, and perhaps he never would. But there was no time for arguments. The shuttle lifted off, carrying 3 cadets and a weapon that seemed too simple to matter. Below them, the academy shuddered as the first ships met the machine entity. Explosions lit the darkness. Energy beams bounced off its surface, leaving nothing but sparks in return. Cadets on other ships panicked. Alien instructors shouted in frustration. Alex gripped the launcher, feeling its weight in his hands. Lisa adjusted the targeting system, and Ethan monitored energy output. "Ready?" Alex asked. "Ready," Lisa and Ethan said in unison. The shuttle moved toward the machine. Alex took a deep breath. He did not feel fear, not in the way others did. Humans felt it, yes, but they also acted anyway. He lined up the first shot. The countdown in his mind began. Everything depended on this moment, and he believed that if humans could try, something impossible could happen. The first shot fired. The first shot hit the machine entity. Alex held his breath as sensors tracked the impact. Nothing exploded. Nothing blew apart. The machine kept moving, its surface glinting coldly in the starlight. The shuttle rocked slightly as the recoil pushed them backward. Ethan frowned. "It barely did anything." Alex shook his head. "Look closer." He pointed to the sensor display. A tiny section of the machine's hull had dented. It was almost invisible, but it was there. The machine had slowed for a fraction of a second. That small change was enough for Alex to know something important. It could be hurt. Lisa's hands moved quickly across the targeting controls. "We can do it again. Aim for the same spot, but adjust slightly." The first shot worked, even if just a little. The shuttle moved carefully, weaving through the chaos of fleeing fleets. Alien ships fired every weapon they had, but their attacks were useless. Energy beams bounced harmlessly off the machine's surface. Explosions rocked nearby asteroids. Pilots panicked as their targeting systems failed. Alex felt no fear, only focus. Humans thrived in dangerous situations. They did not wait for help, they acted. "Another shot," Alex said. "Same spot, same angle." "Ethan, monitor the power output. Lisa, guide me." The second shot fired. This time the dent grew slightly larger. The machine shuddered. Alien cadets observing the event on their screens gasped. Instructor Hale's fingers twitched. He had never seen anything like this. "Humans," he muttered, "they might actually succeed." Ethan adjusted the energy flow to the launcher. "We can keep increasing power, but carefully. If we overload it, the shuttle could be destroyed." Alex nodded. Humans always balanced risk with opportunity. Sometimes the most dangerous moment brought the greatest chance. He lined up a third shot, aiming even more precisely. The shuttle shivered as the launcher fired again. The dent grew. This time, cracks appeared, spreading across the surface. Sparks flew. The machine slowed more noticeably, and for the first time a shadow of hesitation crossed its movement. Lisa leaned close to Alex. "It is working. We are actually hurting it." Alex smiled faintly. "We are not just hurting it, we are proving something. Humans do not accept impossible." The machine reacted. It shifted its direction, moving faster, its sensors scanning for threats. It seemed to notice the shuttle. Energy pulses fired in their direction, and the small craft rocked violently. Ethan struggled to stabilize the controls. "It is aiming at us. We need to move or we will be destroyed." Alex stayed calm. "We move, but we fire at the same time. Do not let it stop us. The moment we pause, we lose the advantage." They fired repeatedly, adjusting angles, timing, and power. Each shot chipped away at the machine's defenses. Alien instructors on other ships watched in shock. No species in the galaxy had managed to damage it before. They could not understand how a simple human device could have any effect. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. Alex, Lisa, and Ethan were relentless. They worked without pause, rotating shots, adjusting targeting systems, recalculating angles. Sweat dampened their brows, muscles ached, but they did not stop. Humans were used to exhaustion. They were used to pushing beyond limits that others thought final. The machine's movements became erratic. Cracks widened. Sparks and fragments flew from its surface. Alien ships tried to retreat, but many were too close. The machine's logic was confused, disrupted by the repeated attacks. It was the first time in recorded history that anything had forced hesitation. Instructor Hale whispered, almost in disbelief, "Humans, they are relentless. They do not obey fear." Alex noticed a pattern. Each weak point on the machine's hull responded slightly differently. Some shots slowed it, others barely affected it. Lisa mapped these areas on the targeting interface. "If we aim for these points repeatedly, we can increase damage quickly. The others are distracted, but we have focus." Ethan looked uneasy. "It is risky. If it notices a pattern, it could adapt and destroy the shuttle instantly." Alex nodded. "Risk is part of human survival. We are not meant to avoid it, we are meant to face it." They continued firing. Slowly, the dents became fractures. Small pieces of armor fell away. Sparks trailed across the hull like fireworks. Alien cadets gasped as the machine slowed more and more. Its glowing eyes scanned, confused, unable to anticipate the simple, repeated strategy of the human cadets. Instructor Hale finally spoke to a communication channel. His voice carried both warning and awe. "All ships, stand back. Do not interfere. The humans have found a way. Observation only. Do not attempt weapons. They will not work the way you expect." Alex felt a surge of pride, but he did not let it distract him. Pride came later. Right now, focus mattered. Lisa adjusted power to the launcher, increasing precision. while Ethan monitored energy feedback to prevent overload. The shuttle's movements became a dance, weaving around debris while continuously firing at the weak points. The alien fleets tried to analyze the situation, but it was useless. The machine's design was complex and adaptive, but it had never encountered humans. Humans did not follow logic that could be predicted. Humans tested, tried, failed, and tried again. That unpredictability disrupted the machine's calculations. Cracks widened, fragments fell, smoke rose from damaged areas. The machine made a low, vibrating noise, the first sound it had emitted that indicated distress. Alien cadets on observation screens whispered nervously. Instructor Hale's eyes widened. They are doing the impossible. It is reacting to a small, simple weapon. Alex felt the launcher's handle vibrating with the energy of repeated use. He adjusted his grip, aimed carefully, and fired another shot. Sparks erupted. A section of the machine collapsed, leaving an opening. For the first time, the shuttle could see inside the entity. Moving cores, wires, and pulsing energy flowed chaotically. The machine had never been observed from this perspective. Lisa breathed heavily. "We did it." "Look at the core." Ethan's hands shook slightly. I cannot believe it. It is breaking down." Alex remained calm. "Not yet. It is far from over. We have to finish what we started." He aimed at a vulnerable point near the core. Each shot chipped away more. Sparks flew, fragments of metal spun through space. The machine tried to move, to adjust, to escape. But the repeated precision of human firing was too much. Each dent, each crack multiplied the effect. From afar, alien commanders communicated frantically. Their advanced weapons had failed. Now, humans with old, simple weapons were causing damage. Their fleets had never encountered this. Many ships began retreating further, unable to comprehend the situation. Instructor Hale watched quietly, letting the humans take the lead. He had taught thousands of cadets, but he had never seen courage and persistence like this. Alex's mind worked rapidly. He calculated trajectories, power levels, and timing, each decision built on the last. Humans were survivors because they learned, adapted, and never gave up. He fired another shot. The core of the machine flickered, the metal cracked more deeply. Sparks and smoke formed a trail across the hull. Alien cadets watched in awe. Ethan whispered, "It is slowing." Alex's eyes focused on the movement patterns. "Keep firing. Do not let it recover. Humans do not stop when things are impossible. We continue until something changes." Hours felt like days. The shuttle moved with precision, firing repeatedly. Energy shields flickered but held. Lisa's adjustments kept the shots accurate. Ethan monitored power feedback, preventing overloads. Alex fired again and again. Each impact further weakened the machine. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the machine's core flickered violently. Sparks shot out. The surface cracked further. Movement slowed dramatically. It was no longer the unstoppable force everyone feared. It had been slowed by persistence, by precision, and by human determination. Instructor Hale whispered almost to himself, "Humans, they are something else. They do not follow limits. They create new rules." Alex looked at Lisa and Ethan. Sweat covered their faces, but their eyes were bright. Humans had done the impossible. For now, the machine was not defeated, but it was vulnerable. It had been challenged in a way no other species had dared. Alex smiled faintly. "This is only the beginning," he said. "We keep going. Humans never quit." The shuttle floated near the machine entity, small against its massive hull. Sparks flew from its damaged areas and smoke trailed into space. Alex Carter, Lisa Brown, and Ethan Cole were inside the cockpit, tense but focused. They had slowed the entity, but it was still alive, still dangerous. The other fleets hovered at a safe distance, watching in shock. They had tried everything, yet nothing had worked until now. Only the humans had made a difference. Ethan's hands shook as he checked the launcher. "We are doing damage, but it is not enough. It is still moving, still powerful." Alex nodded. We need to think like humans always do. Small actions repeated. Find its weak points, exploit them, and do not stop. Lisa adjusted the targeting controls. I see a pattern. The dents we made earlier slowed it, but some areas are stronger than others. If we focus on one side, we can open it up further. The shuttle weaved carefully, dodging debris and energy pulses. The machine's sensors were searching for threats, and it fired in their direction. The shuttle rocked violently, but the shields held. Alex fired again, aiming for a thin seam in the armor. Sparks flew. Fragments of metal spun through space. The machine slowed even more, as if confused. It is reacting, Lisa said, eyes wide. It is trying to defend itself, but it cannot adapt fast enough. Good, Alex said. Humans do not rely on strength alone. We rely on persistence. We keep trying again and again until the impossible changes. Ethan monitored energy levels. The launcher is holding up, but only barely. If we push too hard, it could explode. Alex smiled faintly. Risk is part of human survival. Sometimes we succeed because we dare to try what others fear. They continued firing. Each shot targeted weak points. Each shot chipped away at the machine. Alien cadets on other ships stared, their eyes wide in disbelief. Instructor Hale's silver fingers twitched nervously. He had trained thousands of cadets, but he had never seen anything like this. Humans, Hale muttered almost to himself, they do not follow limits, they create possibilities. Hours passed. The shuttle moved like a shadow across the machine's surface, striking, moving, striking again. Sparks and smoke trailed through space, fragments falling like meteorites. The entity slowed further, jerking in unusual patterns. Small sections of armor collapsed, revealing glowing cores inside. It was vulnerable but still dangerous. One wrong move and the shuttle could be destroyed instantly. Alex focused, ignoring fear. Humans felt fear, yes, but they acted despite it. He lined up another shot. The launcher fired, the core flickered, sparks flew. A small section of the machine's inner structure was exposed. Lisa adjusted the targeting system. We can hit the same spot again. If we keep firing, we can force it to collapse. Ethan swallowed hard. It is risky. If it notices a pattern, it could retaliate and destroy us. Alex shook his head. Humans do not quit because something seems impossible. We adapt. We act. We persist. The shuttle dodged energy pulses and debris while continuing to fire. The machine's movements became erratic. Its sensors could not keep up with the simple, repeated attacks. Alien fleets watched helplessly. They had tried their strongest weapons, their fastest ships, their cleverest tactics. Nothing worked. But humans with one simple launcher were making real damage. Alex noticed a crack spreading across the surface. It was small but significant. We are breaking it, he said quietly. Keep going. Lisa's hands flew over the controls, adjusting angles and timing. Another shot, same spot. Focus on the seam near the core. Ethan monitored energy output, sweat running down his face. We are close to maximum. One more overload and the launcher might fail. Alex took a deep breath. We push anyway. Humans do not stop at limits. The launcher fired again. Sparks and fragments exploded. The crack widened. The machine slowed, jerking in space, struggling to maintain movement. Alien cadets whispered in awe. Instructor Hale watched silently, realizing something he had never understood before. Humans were unpredictable. They did not follow logic others could read. They acted with persistence, courage, and imagination. Hours turned into more hours. The shuttle moved carefully, weaving through fragments of armor and smoke. Each shot from the launcher opened new cracks. Energy flickered from the machine's core. Alien ships tried to maintain distance, watching helplessly. We can do more, Alex said, eyes sharp. We have to keep firing. It is close to breaking. Lisa nodded. I can guide you to even thinner sections. If we focus, we might force it to collapse entirely. Ethan swallowed hard. It is dangerous. It might explode at any second. Alex's hands tightened on the launcher. Then we make each shot count. Humans survive because we act, not because we wait. They continued, shot after shot, targeting seam after seam. Sparks and fragments flew like a storm. The machine shuddered violently. Cracks widened. Inner cores glowed, flickering uncontrollably. It was slowing, losing energy, losing control. Instructor Hale spoke quietly to the observation channel. Humans, they are relentless. They do not follow limits. They create new possibilities. Watch but do not interfere. The shuttle moved with precision. Lisa guided the targeting system, Ethan monitored energy output, Alex fired again and again. The machine could not adapt. It was overwhelmed by persistence, by repetition, by human determination. Finally, the core flickered violently. Sparks shot out. The machine slowed almost to a stop. Fragments of metal floated away. Alien fleets watched in disbelief. Their strongest weapons had failed. Humans with a small, simple launcher had forced real damage. Alex breathed steadily. We are not done yet. We need to keep pressure. Do not let it recover. Hours of focus passed. The shuttle dodged debris and energy pulses while continuing to fire. Cracks widened, cores flickered, sparks flew. The machine's movements became sluggish. It was vulnerable, though not yet destroyed. Ethan looked exhausted. I cannot believe this is happening. It is actually slowing. Lisa nodded, sweat dripping from her forehead. We are doing it. Humans are actually hurting it. Alex smiled faintly. This is how humans survive. We act when others despair. We persist when others quit. This is what makes us dangerous. Instructor Hale whispered quietly. Humans, they do not obey limits. They create new ones. They do not stop until the impossible changes. The shuttle continued its assault. Each shot was precise, careful, and relentless. The machine struggled, jerking and flickering, but could not recover. Alien cadets stared in awe. Fleets could not intervene. The humans were small, but their impact was immense. Finally, after hours of continuous effort, the machine slowed almost to a halt. Cracks spread, cores flickered uncontrollably, fragments floated in space. It was still alive, but it had been forced to react in a way no one had ever seen. Humans had forced the impossible to bend, if only slightly. Alex lowered the launcher slightly, though his hands did not relax. We are close, he said. We have shown it can be hurt. Next, we finish what we started. Lisa adjusted targeting. We need to find the last weak points. Focus on the seams near the central core. We can break it if we continue. Ethan nodded, hands shaking but steady. Okay, we push forward. Humans do not quit. The shuttle prepared for another assault. Sparks and fragments still trailed the machine. Alien ships hovered, watching helplessly. Instructor Hale finally understood. Humans were unpredictable, relentless, and impossible to calculate. Their persistence was a weapon no technology could match. Alex gripped the launcher. Let's finish this. Humans survive because we try. Now we show them why. The machine entity shuddered in space, its massive hull cracked and smoking. Sparks flew from weak points where the humans' repeated attacks had made dents. Fragments floated away slowly, tumbling silently in the dark. Alex Carter, Lisa Brown, and Ethan Cole sat in the shuttle, their eyes fixed on the target. They were exhausted, but they did not stop. Humans were used to pushing past limits. Fear was present, yes, but it did not control them. Lisa adjusted the targeting system. I have mapped the last weak points. If we aim precisely, we can force it to collapse. We need to keep moving or it could retaliate. Alex nodded. Humans survive by acting, not by waiting. Let's finish what we started. Ethan monitored energy output. The launcher is close to maximum. One mistake and it could explode. Are you sure we should continue? Alex's eyes were calm. Yes, humans never quit because of danger. We act when others hesitate. We act when impossible seems true. They moved the shuttle closer, dodging fragments and energy pulses. The machine's movements were jerky, confused, and slow. It emitted a low, vibrating sound, almost like a groan. Alien fleets hovered far away, too afraid to approach. Their strongest weapons had failed, and they could not understand how 3 humans in a small shuttle could cause real damage. Alex aimed at the first seam near the core. Lisa adjusted targeting and Ethan monitored energy flow. The launcher fired, sparks flew, metal cracked. The machine jerked violently as if surprised by the attack. Alex smiled faintly. Humans had proven something important. Persistence, focus, and courage could create results that seemed impossible. Good, Lisa said, breathless. Another shot slightly above the first. Focus on the seam. It is weakening. Ethan adjusted energy levels. We can do this, but carefully. If we overdo it, we risk destroying the shuttle. Alex shook his head. Humans take risks. We survive because we try when others refuse. Shot after shot hit the seams. Cracks widened. Sparks flew. Fragments of metal floated away. The machine slowed even more. Alien cadets watching from observation screens whispered in disbelief. Instructor Hale's silver fingers twitched nervously. He had trained thousands of cadets, but he had never seen courage, focus, and persistence like this. Hours passed. The shuttle moved carefully, weaving between fragments, firing repeatedly. The machine jerked, groaned, and flickered. Its core pulsed unevenly. Alex, Lisa, and Ethan worked in perfect coordination. One aimed, one guided, one monitored. Humans were survivors because they acted together, even under extreme pressure. Lisa's hands flew over controls. We can hit another weak point near the upper core. If we keep targeting seams, we can force a collapse. Ethan swallowed hard. I cannot believe it is working. It is actually slowing. Parts of the hull are collapsing. Alex smiled faintly. Persistence beats power. Humans survive because we act when others fail. They continued firing. Sparks and fragments flew. The machine's jerking movements became slower and weaker. Energy flickered from the core. Alien cadets whispered to each other. Instructor Hale spoke quietly into the observation channel. Humans, they do not obey limits. They create possibilities. They act when others hesitate. Observe but do not interfere. Hours felt like days. The shuttle dodged debris and energy pulses while continuing to fire. Alex aimed carefully. Lisa guided. Ethan monitored. The machine could not recover. It was overwhelmed, confused, and damaged. Cracks widened. Sparks flew. The core flickered violently. Finally, a large section of the surface collapsed. Fragments tumbled away. The machine emitted a high-pitched vibration, the first sound of real distress it had ever made. Alien fleets watched in awe. Their strongest weapons had failed. Humans with a simple launcher had forced real damage. Alex did not smile yet. There was more work to do. Keep firing. Humans do not stop when impossible seems true. We act, we persist, we finish. Lisa adjusted the targeting system. We can aim for the central core now. It is exposed and vulnerable. If we succeed, it will collapse completely. Ethan nodded, tension visible on his face. The launcher can handle only a few more shots. We have to be careful but precise. Alex's eyes were steady. Then we make each shot count. Humans survive because we try, no matter the danger. The shuttle moved closer, careful, precise. Each shot from the launcher chipped away more of the core's outer shell. Sparks flew. Fragments tumbled slowly in space. The machine groaned, jerking violently. It had never faced a threat like this. No species had ever caused this much damage with such a simple weapon. Alien cadets whispered in awe. Instructor Hale watched silently. He realized humans were something no one could calculate. Their courage, persistence, and focus were weapons themselves. Humans acted in ways impossible to predict. Alex fired again, aiming for a thin seam in the exposed core. Sparks erupted. Fragments of metal flew. The core flickered violently. The machine shuddered and slowed. Another shot aimed slightly higher caused another section of armor to collapse. Fragments tumbled into space. The machine groaned loudly, the sound vibrating through nearby ships. Lisa's hands moved quickly. One more shot near the top of the core. Precise. We can finish it. Ethan monitored energy output. The launcher is at maximum. One more mistake and it could explode. Alex nodded. Then we make it count. Humans survive because we act when others refuse. The final shot fired. Sparks exploded. Fragments flew in all directions. The machine shuddered violently. Cracks spread across the core. Energy flickered uncontrollably. It groaned, then shuddered again. Finally, it collapsed inward, sending fragments spinning across space. The massive entity had stopped moving. Alien fleets hovered silently, unable to believe what they had seen. Alex lowered the launcher, breathing steadily. Lisa and Ethan looked exhausted but relieved. They had done the impossible. Humans had forced the unstoppable machine to collapse. Instructor Hale spoke quietly into the observation channel. Humans, they do not obey limits. They act when impossible seems true. They persist when others quit. They create possibilities. Remember this. The shuttle moved carefully away from the fragments. The machine was destroyed not by raw power but by persistence, focus, and courage. Humans had acted where others had failed. They had survived not because it was easy but because they refused to quit. Alex, Lisa, and Ethan looked at each other. Sweat covered their faces. Sparks from the machine drifted past the shuttle. They had done the impossible. Humans had survived. Humans had proven that limits were only suggestions, not rules. Alex smiled faintly. We did it, not because we are the strongest, but because we never gave up. Humans survive because we try, Lisa nodded. We acted when others hesitated. We persisted when others quit. That is what makes us dangerous. Ethan exhaled slowly. I cannot believe it. We actually did it. We survived the impossible. Instructor Hale watched silently. He had trained thousands of cadets, but he had never seen determination like this. Humans were unpredictable, relentless, and impossible to calculate. They acted when others feared. They persisted when others quit. They survived because they tried. The shuttle drifted away from the wreckage. Alien fleets began to recover, but their commanders were silent, unsure how to respond. The humans had proven something no one had believed possible. Alex looked at the stars, thinking of the battles yet to come. Humans had survived today. They had forced the impossible to bend. And they would survive again because that was what humans did. They acted, they persisted, and they never quit. The shuttle drifted slowly through the wreckage of the machine entity. Fragments of metal tumbled silently through space, some still glowing from internal energy. Alex Carter, Lisa Brown, and Ethan Cole stared at the scene, exhausted but alert. The machine had stopped moving. It was silent now, its core dark, its surface shattered. Humans had done the impossible. We did it, Ethan said, voice barely above a whisper. His hands shook as he touched the console. It is really destroyed. Alex nodded, still scanning the wreckage. Yes, it is done. But remember, we did not win because the weapon was strong. We won because we never quit. Humans survive because we act when others hesitate. Lisa exhaled slowly, wiping sweat from her forehead. I cannot believe it. All the fleets, all the weapons, none of it worked. Only us with this simple launcher. Alex smiled faintly. Humans do not rely on strength alone. We rely on persistence, courage, and focus. The universe cannot predict that. It is what makes us dangerous. Far away, alien fleets hovered, watching the aftermath. Their strongest ships had fired everything they had, yet it had no effect. Now 3 humans in a small shuttle had destroyed the machine. Commanders whispered to one another, uncertain how to react. Some feared humans, others were amazed. Instructor Hale's voice came through the observation channel, calm but full of awe. Humans, he said, today you have proven something no one expected. You acted when impossible seemed true. You persisted when others would have quit. This is a lesson all species must remember. The human way is not predictable. It is relentless. Alex looked at Lisa and Ethan. We survived because we acted, not because we waited. Humans never accept limits. We create possibilities. That is how we have always survived and how we always will. The shuttle moved away from the wreckage carefully, avoiding floating fragments. Inside, the three cadets were quiet for a moment, letting the weight of what they had done sink in. They had faced the unstoppable and had survived. They had succeeded where everyone else had failed. "What happens now?" Ethan asked. "Do we just go back to the academy like nothing happened?" Alex shook his head. "No, the galaxy has seen humans today. We have changed things. Other species will think twice before underestimating us. Humans survive because we act, and that will be remembered." Lisa nodded. "We need to report back. Everyone should know what happened, how we did it." They sent a communication to the Academy command. The message was simple: the machine is destroyed. Humans were the first to damage it, the first to survive its attack, and the first to destroy it. Silence followed for a moment, then responses came from astonished commanders, instructors, and cadets. Alien cadets whispered to one another. Instructors studied the data, trying to understand what had happened. Instructor Hale finally spoke. "This changes everything. Humans are no longer seen as weak or reckless. They are unpredictable, dangerous in ways we cannot measure. They survive where others fail. This will be remembered." The three cadets returned to the academy slowly. The wreckage of the machine drifted in space, a reminder of their courage and persistence. Corridors of the academy were filled with whispers. Cadets stared at the shuttle as it landed. Some cheered quietly, some were in shock. Humans had done what no other species had managed. They had survived the impossible. Alex, Lisa, and Ethan stepped out of the shuttle. Instructor Hale waited for them. His eyes reflected awe and respect. "Humans," he said, voice calm but firm, "today you have taught a lesson no one else could. You have shown the value of persistence, courage, and action. You have proven that no limit is final." Alex looked at him calmly. "We survived because we tried. Humans never quit. That is all there is to it." Lisa added, "We did not win because our weapon was the strongest. We won because we acted, even when everyone said it could not be done." Ethan nodded. "Humans survive because we refuse to accept impossible." The academy began to change. Doctrines were updated. Humans were no longer seen as reckless or weak. Instructors studied their methods. Cadets were encouraged to act, to experiment, to persist. Alien species realized that humans were unpredictable, and that unpredictability was a weapon in itself. Instructor Hale gave a lecture to the next group of cadets. He spoke calmly, eyes reflecting experience and awe. "Remember today, saying no weapon can stop something is true only until a human decides to try. Humans survive not because they are strongest, but because they act, they persist, and they refuse to accept limits." Alex, Lisa, and Ethan were honored, but they did not seek glory. They had done what humans always did: acted when others hesitated, persisted when others quit, and survived when others failed. Their names would be remembered in academy records, but more importantly, the lesson of persistence and courage would live on. Days later, the cadets walked through the academy corridors. Whispers followed them. Alien cadets looked at them differently. Humans were no longer underestimated. Humans were respected, feared, and admired. Alex looked at Lisa and Ethan. "We did more than survive. We changed the way the galaxy sees humans." Lisa smiled. "We acted. That is all humans need to do." Ethan nodded. "We will survive again because we always try." Instructor Hale watched them from a distance. He had spent decades training cadets from many species. He had taught thousands of lessons, but he had never seen anything like this. Humans were unpredictable, relentless, impossible to calculate. They survived because they acted. They persisted. They refused to accept limits. That was their strength, and it was unstoppable. The galaxy had witnessed humans in action. Fleets would remember the lesson. Instructors would teach it. Cadets would whisper it. Humans would no longer be underestimated. The small shuttle, the simple weapon, the cadets' persistence had changed history. Alex looked at the stars, thinking about future battles, future challenges, and future impossible odds. Humans had survived today. They had acted where others failed, and they would survive again because that was what humans did. They acted, they persisted, they never quit. As the academy returned to normal, cadets and instructors alike remembered the lesson. Humans were no longer seen as weak. They were seen as unpredictable, relentless, and capable of the impossible. Alex, Lisa, and Ethan returned to their training, ready for the next challenge, knowing that humans survived because they acted, because they persisted, and because they never quit. The galaxy had changed. The humans had proven it, and their story would be told for generations.